Hey, happy engineer. Welcome back. Zach White here. And we're going to talk about one of the biggest things that will hold you back and keep you stuck at your current level and prevent promotion. Really quick before we go there, I wanted to ask you, have you gotten a copy of my Engineering Career Accelerator Scorecard? If not, I've been getting a lot of questions about, Zach, what are the basics? What are the fundamentals, the things that I need to get right as I'm building my career and working toward promotion? And this has the answer. It's a really useful tool. You can go through to a self-assessment, red, yellow, green, on all of these fundamental tips that you need to get right as you're building your career. Give yourself a score and then work on one every single week for a year. I promise you, you're going to experience incredible growth in your career. So go grab a copy. It's right there in the show notes, a link where you can get a free copy of my Career Growth Scorecard, and send me your score. I would love to hear, where are you strong? Where are you struggling? What was that red, yellow, green breakdown? Share with me how you're doing. It's always fun to stay in touch and see what kind of progress you're making in accelerating your career. So click the link in the show notes and grab a copy for free of my Career Accelerator Scorecard. Now, let's talk about promotion. Getting promoted, there's 3 phases that you pass through. Phase 1 is when you start that new job. You're new to role. You're in that first 90 days, that first 6 months, and you're working toward that break-even point. We all go through this. It's a mandatory phase of starting a new job. Phase 2 is that stable and growing phase. You know what to do, you can do your job well, but there's still plenty of areas for you to grow, for you to develop, get experiences that you're going to need to reach the next level. Phase 2 is one that can go on for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It can really extend. And this is tricky because a lot of people do get stuck in this middle phase. You're performing well, you're doing great work, but there's always new projects. There's always new things to pick up and do. Phase 3 is ready for promotion. You are ready now, and you're simply looking for that next opportunity. And here's the key about phase 3. It's not just your perspective about that matters. It's also your boss and the decision makers who will actually be placing you into that next level. If you're the only one who thinks you're ready for promotion, you're not ready for promotion. So phase 3 is when you have that alignment about being ready now, and we're simply looking for the right opportunity. Now, if you're going to leave your company, of course it's different, right? Your boss doesn't have to agree with you. But in general, we want to get to the point where it is known that I am promotable. Okay, let's talk about where we get stuck. What is it that actually keeps us in phase 2, in that stable and growing phase? And the truth is, the growing will plateau. Maybe you can relate to this. The longer you stay in the job, the more every project, every new challenge feels like another one of those. It's something you've already done. It's not that exciting. You're not learning and using your full potential anymore. And sometimes we get stuck. And I'm going to share with you one of the biggest barriers, one of the things that will keep you stuck. And when you get this wrong, you're going to be constantly frustrated that you're ready, but the organization won't promote you. When you get this wrong, you're going to find every career transition is longer and more drawn out and more difficult, where you catch yourself doing 2 jobs at once for 3 months or 6 months. When you get this wrong, your boss doesn't want to let you go because of the challenge that it presents for your old team. But when you get this right, it makes it easy, smooth like butter when you go into that next role. It sets you up for an accelerated timeline in getting that next promotion. It makes it more engaging for you and for your boss. Everybody wins. It's really simple, and that is succession planning. I was in a session not too long ago with an engineering leader named Mike, and Mike had been doing everything right. He'd been closing gaps in his engineering acumen, in his business acumen, in his emotional intelligence. He'd been working on his presentation skills, all the little career development activities that you need to do to get ready for the next level, Mike was checking all the boxes. And he had his sights set on a next level promotion. And he'd been working towards that role, networking with people, really reaching out to mentors and sponsors and finding opportunities. And he had found a role that was a perfect fit for his vision. He was really excited about the growth he would get from that role, the opportunity to leverage his past experiences and create value in that role. It looked like a perfect fit. And Mike went to his boss, who was the senior manager, and asked for permission to apply for the job. His boss said sure. He got into the interviews. He crushed the interviews. He worked with his coach to prepare for the interviews. Everything went great. And he actually got to the point where the hiring director of the new role wanted to offer Mike the job. But Mike's director, his boss's boss, blocked the promotion. He blocked the promotion. And the reason was that Mike was the only person on the team who could do what Mike was doing for a critical project, and they had no one else ready to slide in and fill the role. And they didn't have line of sight to anybody to take the job, and they didn't have the time to go out and hire right now. They weren't going to do that process, and so they blocked the promotion. Harsh. Maybe you can relate to this. This is something that happens all the time, where you're ready and maybe another part of the company is ready to take you on. They'll give you that promotion, but your current manager or your current director, your current VP blocks that move because the organization as a whole is not ready for you to leave the slot. There's no succession plan. And this is incredibly frustrating if you get to that place. So let's talk about first a mindset shift that needs to happen around succession, and then 3 tips for you to make sure that you are taking responsibility for this. First, the mindset. Most of us want to believe that it is our boss's job to worry about succession planning. And let's be fair, in many respects, it is. If you're a manager or a director or a VP today, it is absolutely your job to make sure that you have a plan for how to replace the leaders on your team, especially those who have been on your team for a while, who you know are interested in new roles or new promotions. But please remember, when you abdicate responsibility for your career development to anybody, if it's your boss, it's HR, to you name it, you are setting yourself up for being a passive participant in someone else's decision making. And that is not the way that we build a career that we will love and a career that reaches your full potential, because nobody else cares about your career as much as you should. So take full responsibility for your own succession planning. Don't expect your leader to have this under control. They might, but they might not. And if they don't, then you're going to be just like Mike, frustrated when you're ready for promotion and someone wants to promote you and you get stuck. So take responsibility for your own succession plan. Here's 3 tips that I would encourage you to keep in mind. Number 1, start now. Don't wait. Don't wait until you're ready for promotion to start thinking about who will succeed you in your role. Your success is limited to your successors. Your success is created by the success of your successors. So please take this seriously and start now. We don't want to wait until we're ready to begin. And keep in mind both internal and external candidates. If you really want to be at your best when it comes to career development, you're always staying in connection to people both within your company and outside your company who might be able to, A, work for your teams if you are a manager director, but also potentially backfill you if that's what needs to happen. Start now, think internal and external, and have that list of the top names that you would recommend if you were going to leave your job tomorrow. Who would you put in your slot? Keep that up to date and active and be proactive in building it. Number 2, start documenting everything about how to do your job that isn't already clear. One of the really common barriers to succession planning and getting somebody new into your role is the long and arduous period of training and onboarding and this long overlap that happens where you're straddling two jobs for months while you're figuring everything out. One of the great ways to prevent that is start documenting all those standard operating procedures, all of those little things that nobody really knows but you because you're the one doing the job. And one quick hack for this, something that is way underutilized in corporate life and is super common in entrepreneurship, is just to record videos using a tool like Loom or any screen recording, screen grabbing tool, and just record yourself doing the work. While you are doing the work, hit record, make an archive of videos of exactly what clicks, what ticks, what actions need to happen in order to accomplish the things that are part of your job scope. All right, this is a really easy way for you to create an archive of how to do your job so that you don't have to come back and sit over the shoulder of that successor for hours and hours and hours and help them learn what you do. Number 3, make preparing to do your job a development opportunity for somebody else. This is a super useful tactic. So if you're wondering, Zach, like this all makes sense, but how am I going to get a successor ready to take on my job way before it's time? It's not like they can do my job for me. Well, that's a mindset. Let's challenge that. What if you could get someone else to start learning and doing parts of your job now while you're still squarely in it and you're not even ready for promotion yet? But taking on those challenges would be a great stretch and a development opportunity or a cross-training opportunity for someone else. See, you got to get outside the box. You got to think about this differently. What you do every day and take for granted that's easy for you or boring for you could be something that challenges and stretches someone else. Or if you're on a team with 5 or 6 peers, moving into your role laterally could be a next move for one of your peers. So that's another thing to consider. Are you giving those people an opportunity to see the unique aspects of your role? Lots to consider here, but number 1, start now. Number 2, document how to do your job so it's easy to hand off. And number 3, make learning your role a stretch or development opportunity for someone else so that they're ready and prepared to take on your job when you get promoted. And for them, they get the credit both now and later. Credit now because they can say, look, I'm reaching outside the scope of my job and learning. That's going to help their performance review. And they're top of the list for your succession plan. When you go into that promotion conversation and you tell your boss, I'm ready for the next level, I'd like to apply for these jobs, and here are the top 2 or 3 names of the people who are ready to take on my role when I get this promotion, it's a completely different conversation than when you just want something for yourself and the organization is not prepared to fill the gap that you're going to leave behind. I hope this helps. Take action. Make sure that you don't let this become an excuse in your own career. And if you have any questions at all, reach out and ask. That's what I'm here for. It is such a pleasure to support you. Don't forget to grab a copy of the Career Accelerator Scorecard. It is super useful. And if you haven't joined us at our live workshop happy hour, the link to register for the next happy hour is in the show notes as well. Check that out. We had an amazing time last month. We do this every single month. You can come in, get your questions answered live, learn some of the strategies, tactics, and tools that we coach in our paid programs right there at happy hour. It's totally free. So get signed up, join us on Zoom. It is a limited capacity, but we have room for you. Let's do this.